Are we in the right place? This place looks like a mess.
Yes, this is Niez, the capital of Mahag Sar.
I don't see any signs of people. And the buildings.
Yeah, this doesn't seem like the kind of place people would actually live.
No soldiers, no Danans, not a soul to be seen. Yet look at these facades. This is clearly a Renan district.
Hey, check out that drawing on the castle gate. That's the Darkwing's crest. It's from an old Danan legend about a hero who defeated an evil king with a torch and their trusty owl. That's his crest. I'm sure of it.
Really? First time I'm hearing it. So if someone drew it on the gate...
It must mean the Renans have lost control of the city.
Are you suggesting the Danans rose up and defeated the Lord here? Hard to believe, but not entirely unthinkable, given the evidence.
Let's look around and see if we can find someone. They might be able to tell us what happened. This is horrible.
Is there truly no one here?
All of these ruins look like they were made pretty recently.
But if that's the case, then where do you think the people that used to live here went off to? There must have been Danans and Renans, right?
That's a good question. Even if the Danans rebelled and managed to overthrow the Renans here, there should still be some people around.
This debris. Do you think it could be the work of Renan astral arts?
Perhaps, but the appearance of these ruins is rather uniform, which leads me to believe otherwise.
Hey, Rinwell. That story you told us about the Dark Wings. It said that the evil king was vanquished with a holy flame, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Then there might be some truth to that old story after all. It looks like all the rubble here had been scarred by flames.
Let's not jump to any conclusions just yet. If we can find someone around here, we might be able to get them to tell us what happened. Dohalim, you forgot to take care of the fire yesterday.
What do you mean, take care of? Ah, yes. You meant to put it out?
Yep. If it stays lit, we could end up in real trouble real fast.
I see. I apologize for not realizing that. I shall be more careful in the future.
The way he's talking, it's like the thought of putting it out himself never even occurred to him.
Moving on, Dohalim, I should mention that the clasp for your cape is about to come undone.
Oh yes, I tried to fix that myself, but it simply refused to cooperate with me.
I can't believe I'm hearing this. Are you telling me Renans can't even dress themselves?
Lords like Dohalim have attendants that take care of just about everything they need, so I'm not surprised he sometimes struggles with the basics.
Even by those standards, you've got to admit this is still a little extreme.
Shionna's got a point. I mean, you don't see Renans like her needing so much help to get stuff done.
In my case, circumstances forced me to learn how to be independent. Even so, I still think Dohalim could afford to pick up a few more self-sufficient skills.
Well, specifically speaking, what would you suggest that I learn?
For starters, I think it'd be good for you to learn how to dress. And put on shoes. How to comb your hair is equally important. And learning to manage your possessions better. And then from there...
She sounds like his mom rattling all that off.
Oh, and another thing. About your owl, Rinwell.
What is it?
When he starts to molt, would you be willing to give me his old feathers? I think I could find a use for them.
What do you intend to do with those?
Well, recently, I haven't been sleeping well. However, I hear pillows made from owl feathers are very comfortable and wish to make one.
This is why I hate you, Renans!
Did I say something offensive?
Next time, put your own needs aside for a second and think about how someone might react first. Then consider if it's worth asking at all.
Stay sharp. We're going in.
What's that big tower over there?
You guys want to rest here?
If you need help with anything, just let me know.
Hey, Rinwell. What was that whole legend you were talking about earlier, back when we were by the gate?
Huh? Oh, you mean about the Darkwings? It's an old story about a Dahnan hero that's been passed down for generations.
Like I said, I sure haven't heard it before.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, long ago, there was an evil king who tried to bring all of Dahna to ruin. However, a pure black owl heard the pleas of the people and decided to help. It chose a young hero and bestowed upon them a holy flame that was capable of vanquishing the king. The story goes that the young hero challenged the king and defeated them with the flame. Seeing Dahna had been saved, the people flew the crest of the Darkwings as thanks to the owl for its help. From what I understand, it used to be a really well-known story before the Renans came.
I guess our people must have forgotten it over time. It's lucky for us you still know it. You sure are well-versed in these sorts of things, Rinwell.
You know, the part where the hero defeats the king with a flame reminds me a little of Alphen.
Come on, it's just a story. Besides, if we're talking about an owl helping anyone, Hootle would definitely choose Rinwell.
Sure, I might have helped take out our own kind of evil king with the others, but I'm definitely no hero. That and Hootle's wings aren't even black. Huh.
This should definitely keep you guys full.
Kisara, let's talk for a bit.
Sorry for rambling on so much about my past earlier.
Don't sweat it. It was fun hearing you reminisce about the good old days.
Come on, you don't have to pretend with me. I know I can tend to go on sometimes when it comes to my brother.
You said it, not me. Anyway, I don't think it's something for you to be embarrassed about.
Hey, Alphen. When you were a kid, was there ever a time when you had to bury someone younger than you?
Well, it's hard to say. I'm guessing that you have, though.
Yeah. During the previous crown contest, with the Lord before Dohalim. Life back then was truly hell. I think that's why I tried to ignore what Miguel was telling me for so long. Because I was afraid of going back to such a dark time. Of losing hope. I wanted to believe in our paradise so much that I doubted the one person I should have trusted most. I don't blame Dohalim for that. I simply didn't want to face facts. And I ended up trying to project my ideals onto everyone else.
It's strange. Whenever you and Dohalim talk about Menancia, it's always like it's some big failure. We're talking about fixing 300 years worth of damage here. Isn't it a bit optimistic to think it was all going to be resolved after only 5?
You might be right. Maybe it was a mistake when Menancia... No. When I decided to stop seeing the darkness in our society. I have to admit the truth. To myself, first of all. I'll take watch tonight. It's okay. Rise and shine. We're almost ready to leave.
This way, I guess.
We've reached our destination.
Do you sense one of your friends, Hootle?
Hoo-hoo! Hoo-hoo!
Maybe something's going on in the forest.
What are those out in the valley? Windmills? They're huge.
They're most likely used to harvest wind astral energy, so they have to be big.
you, stop right there! Don't move!
They have us surrounded.
Who are you? Where did you come from?
You first! Show yourself!
I'm the one asking the questions here. Don't try anything funny. One wrong move, and I guarantee we'll blow you away.
What are you...
My name is Alphen. I came here from Calaglia.
Alphen? The wielder of the blazing sword?
Getting pretty famous, isn't he?
Here is my proof. Will that suffice? Or do I have to burn down one of those houses to make my point?
No need. I believe you. I'm Beifong, of the Darkwings. Sorry for threatening to blow you away. We're still hunting down the remnants of the enemy forces, so everyone's more than a bit on edge right now. Please forgive me.
Remaining? Wait, you mean you already took down the Lord of this realm?
That's right. We took her weapons and turned them right back on her.
Are you the Danon leader here in Niez?
Nah, I'm just one of the commanders. Deadeye's the one who runs the show. I'd be happy to take you to him. Just one problem. The Renans. Seems the rumors you were running with them were true. You do understand, right? I mean, we only just liberated the city from their kind. Everyone's short on trust. And for good reason. Especially Deadeye. I think it'd be best if those two waited outside.
Not going to happen.
I don't think it's a good idea for us to split up. It's too dangerous.
Then it's on your head, friend. Our base is that way.
You could have left me behind, you know.
This isn't just about you, Dohalim.
Ah, yes.
I guess even after you beat the Renans, your work's only really just begun, huh?
Yeah. This place seems like it's got a lot of issues to fix. Not this way, I guess.
So you're Alphen, are ya? Thought you'd be bigger. Huh. Guess the armor beefs you up a bit. You've got a lot of people talking, you know. But in this town, I call the shots. You play by my rules here. Just remember that. Gotta say, I didn't expect you to run with a gang of women and kids. Those other lords must have been real pushovers, huh?
Seriously? Are you this rude to everyone you meet?
Don't interrupt me, you brat. Didn't your parents teach you any manners?
What, you?
So you're the one who took down the Lord of this realm, huh? How'd you pull that off?
Ha! We just swiped the Renan's explosives. And then we blasted them all to hell and back.
Explosives? That's a pretty bold approach. But how'd you manage to avoid hurting your own people?
I didn't, that's how. But the chance to take out a lord was worth the sacrifice.
And the Lord? What did this sacrifice earn you?
Unfortunately, we couldn't manage to finish her off. But now we've really got the girl on the run.
She ran? A lord?
Yeah, the lady was just a coward. She had a whole lot more bark than bite, that's for sure. She's probably hiding off in a hole somewhere. But not for long. We'll find her and drag her right back into town. Then she'll get what's coming to her.
I wouldn't be so sure. She may run, but she'll never go quietly.
Shut up, Bright Eyes! I would have run you through already if you weren't with the blazing sword here.
The whole reason you're fighting is to free the Danans in this realm, is it not? If
Shut
so,
your
then—
mouth, witch! That's enough! If you're really fighting for us Danans, why keep these bastards around? Why haven't you killed them already?
I'm not going to kill these bastards.
Whoa. Is that the case, huh? Then tell me the point of the show.
They're my friends.
Friends? Renans are Renans. The scum-sucking bastards who've been draining our souls for 300 years now! But you know that. Maybe it's 'cause you and that little lady are friends and more.
Son of a... You'll pay for that!
That's enough! Deadeye, you know that was completely uncalled for.
All of you, get the hell out of my realm! And don't ever come back! This is Danan's realm and it's ours, understand? I call the shots here. And I make the rules. I do, Deadeye, leader of the Dark Wings!
Yeah! Deadime! Liberator Deadime! You are the true leader of this realm! We're not afraid of any Bright Eyes!
It's only a matter of time before I throw every last Bright Eye out of this realm!
The Dark Wings! The Dark Wings rule!
Hey, wait up! Told you so, didn't I? You should have left your Renan pals outside.
You don't agree with him, do you? I could tell by the look on your face in there.
That's how things are with him. He loses his temper, then I step in and calm things down.
Better you than me.
If that's all, I think it's past time we were going.
Look, I just wanted to apologize for what Deadeye said in there.
At least somebody's got some manners around here.
He didn't used to be like that. But, well, that's what losing most of your loved ones will do to a man. He may never forgive the Renans.
It's a little ironic how indistinguishable his manner is to that of a lord.
Hey, Bayfon? Deadeye mentioned the Lord is still on the run. Any ideas where she might be?
We looked all over, but found no traces of her. We heard some rumblings about activity in Estaluva Forest, but that's it.
Estaluva, huh?
Wait, you're not going after her, are you? Certainly won't win you any favors with Deadeye.
This isn't Deadeye's war, and we're certainly not fighting it for him. Besides, it's like Shion said, her type isn't going to go quietly.
Hey, it's your funeral. Don't say I didn't warn you.
We'll be sure to keep you out of it. Before we set out, though, is there anywhere around here we can rest?
Sure. Building at the end of the road, opposite side. It's all yours. We use it as temporary lodging, to house people who don't have a new place to live quite yet.
We're not going to run into any trouble there, are we?
Rumors of a certain fiery sword have spread fast. I doubt anyone will be eager to give you guys problems. And here's where I say my farewell. You're on your own, but good hunting.
Before you go, how come you don't hate the Renans as well?
Oh, believe me, I've got my bone to pick with the Renans. Just not with two of them I've never so much as laid eyes on before.
Let's head on over to that lodge. We'll figure out what our next move is there.
I get the feeling Deadeye signed up to be a rebel so he could have a roost to rule. Heck, he's no better than a lord. In some ways, he's even worse.
I know. How could he use explosives on his own people?
And yet, despite the toll of his actions, none of the Danans we've seen seem to question his assumed authority in the least. If anything, they may well consider him a hero, which would say a great deal toward how deeply they resented the Renans here.
Still, I don't think this is as simple as saying the good guys won out over the bad ones.
Yeah, I don't either. Deadeye might have managed to drive the Renans out of Niez, but that doesn't make the way he did it okay. No matter which way you look at it.
A victory that's earned by throwing away the lives of his own people? No, that isn't a victory at all. I can understand that the Danans here are standing up against their oppression, but that doesn't mean they have to humiliate all Renans just to settle the score.
I'm perfectly able to stand up for myself, Alphen. Besides, I'm used to it by...
But you shouldn't have to be, Shion. It's just... What I mean to say is, when you've been a slave for so long, it's easy to accept that's how it should be because it's all you've ever known. Constantly being belittled is no different. I don't think that's fair. For me or for you.
I just don't know, man.
Don't know what?
Deadeye managed to drive out a real live Renan lord. That's incredible. And he seems to have a lot of supporters surrounding him too. But he's got an attitude worse than any angry Zoogle. Plus, Niez is in utter ruins. I don't have a clue what his game is.
The Renans are powerful. And because of that, it takes a strong leader to have any hope of toppling them. However, when you take down one dictator only to replace them with another, ultimately it's just business as usual.
If it'd been Zephyr instead of Deadeye, I don't think things would have turned out like this.
Rinwell.
Yeah, I think so too. Zephyr did things differently top to bottom. He's not the kind of person who would have forced his own views or decisions on other people. When you do that, you're ruling over others, not leading them.
To be honest, I don't know what I would have wanted my dad to do if he was in that position.
Law.
The whole thing feels weird in a way. It's a weird kind of feeling, but at the same time, part of me also feels happy. Deadeye and my dad are two very different men. For now, I'm content knowing that.
The city is liberated, and yet the air still hums with fear and anxiety. It reminds me all too well of how Vicente once was.
Hums? You mean like music?
Yeah, none of this sounds like music to my ears. In fact, I've never seen any Danans with musical instruments in my life.
You don't need instruments to play music. It can emerge naturally from the sounds of people going about their day and the hustle and bustle of life.
You seem to care a lot about music, Dohalim. I didn't know that about you.
Have I not mentioned it? Before I was a candidate for the lordship, I had my heart set on the life of a musician.
You? A musician?
Indeed, music enriches the world around us. I trained day and night to hone my art. Words could not describe my bliss, as my notes carried with them the sights and sounds of nature, the ebb and flow of time, and the thoughts of people on the wind.
Dohalim.
Forgive me. My loquaciousness can get the best of me at times.
Don't apologize. It's interesting hearing what Renan culture is like.
Even though the Renans destroyed all of our arts and culture.
Personally, I was interested in the music of Dana as well. The fact that generations of lords deemed music to be of no use to their slaves and outright forbade the ownership of instruments is lamentable. Not that my words can undo the damage already done.
What's wrong? All right.
What the?
Hey,
Yeah!
good.
All right!
Not this way, I guess.
I sense a poor soul who is in dire need.
Sounds like
Well...
I see. Oh.
just great.
Excuse me!
Good.
That's some cryptic text, all right.
It could mean anything. Can't we just look around the area for clues or something?
Hey, maybe these are supposed to be different locations?
Oh, now you're into this too, huh? Let's see what's going on around here.
Yeah, there might be someone who could use our help.
Oh, yeah? How's this? Great!
Yes. Hey. Ah?
Good.
Really? What? Yes!
All right. Right.
Really?
What?
Huh?
All right.
Yes!
Over there!
Huh? Yes!
All right.
Yes!
Huh.
All right.
By the by, Shion, if you don't mind my asking, would you be willing to share what sort of clothes are currently in fashion on Rena sometime?
Sure, as long as you call me Captain.
Sir, yes, sir, Captain Shion.
I was just joking. Kinda has a nice ring to it, though.
That Deadeye creep certainly has a few screws loose, that's for sure.
Forget that guy. Right now, we need to discuss how we're going to proceed.
What's there to discuss? Deadeye and his crew have already brought down the Lord here. Just let them finish her off.
I want to go after her.
I second that. I think it's the best thing to do right now. We don't know if the Darkwings have what it takes to beat her. I'm worried what'll happen if we leave her to her own devices.
You make a good point, Rinwell. And maybe I'm just being overconfident, but between us and them, I think we have a better chance at defeating her.
I have to agree. This realm isn't going to be truly safe as long as that Lord is still running around out there. We need to act.
Fine by me. But isn't Deadeye just gonna take all the credit once we're done?
Our job is to break down the walls that oppress Dana. What he chooses to build in their place, That's his problem. For now, we'll head to this Estaluva forest Bayfon told us about. Whatever we decide to do, though, we should take some time to rest first. We've barely stopped since Menancia. Where are you going?
Alphen.
You should get some rest. What's got you up at this hour?
Just let me be for a minute, okay? Why don't you go back to the inn?
I will when you do.
Have it your way.
Shion. The Lord's days are numbered. I haven't forgotten our promise. You can trust me, you know. Maybe even lean on me a little. If you want.
And if I say I will you finally give it a rest?
Yeah, of course. Try to get some rest, okay?
What was all that about?
So we're just going to check things out, right? In whatever that forest is called.
Estaluva Forest. Next time, pay attention.
Got sand in my eyes!
The winds are strong here. Mind yourselves.
Ugh, even the inside of my mouth is all sandy.
Hootle, don't get blown away, okay?
The winds outside the capital are blowing as strongly as ever.
You can definitely see why people call this place the Valley of the Four Winds.
Indeed, Mahag Saar is the realm of wind, just as Ganeth Heros is for water.
Earth, water, fire, wind, light, and darkness. Rena is aligned to darkness, leaving each realm one element each.
Is that because some elements are easier to gather in certain areas than others?
That is certainly possible, but I suspect the biggest reason is to prevent the lords from squabbling over resources.
Funny. You would think infighting would come naturally to an elite class vying for a crown.
True, but the Renans rule as a minority. Fighting ourselves would just be destructive. Though, as you saw in Menancia, any abstention from fighting is merely a facade.
In the end, you all get usurped whether you like it or not.
That may be true, but something tells me that this time is different.
We have to catch up to the Lord first if we want answers. Let's keep moving.
What is that ring of rocks over there for? They don't look like they formed naturally to me.
Oh yeah. Funny, I guess I've gotten used to weird rock formations. They didn't even register as being out of the ordinary.
Most likely, they were brought over by us Renans when we first invaded the planet.
Wait, those? So does that mean there's some kind of machine then? And if so, what in the world were they even used for?
To manipulate the properties of Dana's astral energy.
Really?
Think about it. Isn't it strange that the type of energy each realm collects is so fixed? Astral energy by nature isn't meant to skew towards one element or another so heavily.
So the Renans reformed it for the crown contest.
Sounds like the crazy thing a Renan would do.
Renans these days are more advanced than Danans in some ways, but even they don't seem capable of doing something on that grand a scale. Or is that something that's possible on Lenegis? Or maybe the Renan homeworld?
I can't claim to know everything about my own kind, but I myself have never seen anything that would be capable of such a drastic feat.
But at some point, they did just that. Those are the sort of people we're up against. We should do our best not to forget that.
You're so amazing, Kisara. You can cook, you can fix weapons. I feel like there's practically nothing you can't do.
Maybe you should take a page out of her book and learn to make yourself more useful then.
I'd be happy to teach you if you want, Rinwell. I learned most everything I know from my brother.
Really? Even how to sew and do laundry?
Yes, indeed. He knew how to do anything.
Sounds like he was a pretty handy guy when he was alive.
He was. I'd always follow him around and badger him with questions. I was a real pain in the neck. Now that I think about it, he and Legil were the ones who taught me how to raise cats, too.
Legil is that woman who was with him in the Gold Dust Cats, right? I remember now. The one with the really pretty hair.
Funny you mention that. He also taught me how to maintain my hair. Not that those lessons stopped it from getting all tangled up during training.
I think it still looks gorgeous.
From what I can tell, it would appear as though the only thing he didn't manage to teach you was how to apply makeup.
No, but that didn't stop him from trying. He really wanted to teach me everything. Only reason he couldn't was because I prioritized my training.
And here I was trying to make a joke.
I can't tell if she's being serious. The only one here who knows him well enough was her.
Yeah, I guess only Miguel could have told us if it's actually true.
Oh?
Yes!
Very nice. Is that so? You don't say. How? I see.
Hey! Sure.
Nice work.
Oh?
Very nice.
Well?
Yes! What?
What?
I don't believe this! All right. No.
Sure.
Really now. Yes! What?
What?
Very nice. Yes.
that was a huge miscalculation.
Yet you've drained your glass all the same.
Alphen, have you been washing your clothes? It may not be my place to say this, but frankly, they're starting to stink.
Now that you mention it, it has been a while since I did any laundry.
I'll wash them for you if you want. Just remember to give them to me the next time you get changed.
Oh, okay. Sure. Thanks, Kisara.
And, Law, Rinwell, yours are starting to look a bit ragged.
What do you expect? Of course they're going to tear up when we're out there fighting so much.
Yeah, but it's still kind of embarrassing, having it pointed out like this.
And Shion?
I wouldn't touch me if I were you.
Of course. My apologies. All I wanted to say was that your sleeves are getting a little bit dirty.
You don't need to worry so much, Kisara. It's only natural our clothes are gonna get a little dirty while we're traveling around.
That's no excuse. Your outward appearance says a lot about your inner well-being.
Now you've really set her off.
Suffice to say, it would appear that the traditions of the Guard are still alive and well within her.
What do you mean? What do the guardsmen do that's so special?
Mostly, I'm simply referring to the fact that they're a very regimented and cleanly group of people.
Do I really sound that weird to you guys? Keeping your clothes clean and mended is completely normal to me.
Don't get us wrong. We appreciate the thought, Kisara. But we've got a long journey ahead. It wouldn't hurt to relax your standards. Just a little.
If you're sure. I wasn't trying to overdo it, I promise. However, if it's making the rest of you tense, I'll do my best to tone it down from here on out. Still, if everyone could bring their laundry and clothes they want fixed, that'd be great. I'll take care of it all for you guys tonight.
Don't you ever get tired?
Out of our way!
Swallow this!
Take this!
These ones can run rings around us.
I can carve through armor! Eternal devastation!
Prepare to be sealed, O fleet of foot. Actually, that one was more appropriate.
Less talking, more doing. Please now. I'll be saving this one.
Crush!
Thunderfield!
Crush! Now, rip and tear!
We got the advantage.
You are a
Good.
tip-top.
Just as soon as I'm done here, come help out.
How could a girl ever say no?
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Less talking, more...
Cut them apart to your heart's content.
This could be useful.
Somehow, things are even worse outside the city than they are inside.
Yeah, it's all ruined. Houses and everything else.
Even if it was all in the name of beating the Renans, this is...
I think Hootle senses something.
Hey, what do you say we fight that
I've got a really bad feeling about this.
I'm on!
Radiant Thunderblade!
Eat this!
By the power of water!
No further!
Dust to dust! Take this!
Burning
Crush!
Thunderblade!
Demon Fang! Shattering the pieces!
You got
Eternal
that?
devastation!
Armor won't save
Do
you!
it!
It's
Get toasty!
Burn Strike!
Right, next one.
Eat this! Already on!
Mega Ray!
Tectonic Punch!
Leave the ensnaring to me.
Yeah, and disabling to me.
Here I go. I'm only getting cards on left.
Crush!
Eternal
devastation!
More for the south!
None shall
Megasonic
escape
Thrust!
my judgment.
Thunder Field!
I'm on it. Your power is...
I'm not trying to be dramatic with it.
Why didn't the Renans take advantage of all of these ruins around here? It seems like a missed opportunity.
Most likely because it would be inefficient for harvesting astral energy. That's what dictates the current positions of each realm's capital.
Plus, Renans are averse to using anything that belonged to the Danans.
This should make for some good weapon crafting material.
This is no place to fish, is it?
No choice!
I'm surrounded.
You require a hand.
Eternal devastation! Take this!
Purge Malevolent!
You are incapacitated.
Since I'm done, Sion, can you take care of them?
No sooner said than done.
Blow away!
All right,
Here I
it's
come!
showtime!
It's over! Eternal devastation! Start up!
Well, someone seems in tip-top.
Nothing new about that, Shion.
And still as humble as ever.
The heavens must be smiling.
Who?
Right, here goes!
Hey, when did I get so popular?
Eternal devastation!
Dance in the wind! Air Throw!
Raining slash! Eternal devastation!
I never miss.
Now!
The tide of battle
I
has
can
turned.
carve through
Pesky airborne
power of
scoundrels.
comrades in
Sounds
arms.
like a jump right. Comrades in arms.
Devastation!
What? Sentiment. The enemy wields our fleet.
You'll soon see about that!
Demon time!
Do it! More!
Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade! See that?
That training's paying off!
Prepare to be sealed, though. Actually, sound is more appropriate.
Less talking, more doing.
Rising Falcon!
Here's a healing
You're mine! I owe you one. Next!
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Less talking, more pummeling.
Cut them apart to your heart's
You're
content.
mine! Dragon Shout! Demon Fang!
Lightning Orb! Purge Malevolent!
None shall escape my judgment.
Waterfall! Freeze Lancer!
Primed and ready.
Great!
Who? Who?
Maybe something's going on in the forest.
Hurricane thrust! Rising! Take this!
Lightning
Tornado devastation!
What I
can do! Amazing! This one's all mine!
Dragon Shell!
We got flyers!
I've got this!
We did
Let
it!
a marksman handle it!
Demon Fang! All yours!
Now!
I'll take you all on!
Now see that you don't get in trouble again.
You're mine!
Bring it here!
By the power of water!
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
Raining flash!
This one's mine!
Demon Fang!
Air hurricane! Confiscated!
Blow away!
None shall escape my judgment! Here's a healing
Demon
art!
Fang!
First aid!
Demon Fang!
Hold together, just a little longer. I'll show you just
sympathy.
how strong. Get it together. We need you informed. Up and failure's not enough. I'll bring you back from Texas. Magic is there. Sleep now.
I'm not done! Raining flash! Eternal devastation! First strike!
In here.
Blow away!
Here I go. I'm only
tear you apart!
Dragon
Demon
Shell!
Fang!
Whoa, hey, one at a time! Eagle
Rain!
Thunder Blade! Mega Ray!
Demon Fang!
Annihilation! Mega Ray!
Demon Fang!
Annihilation!
I'll stop
Here
its charge!
goes! Thanks, Kisara! Searing Flame! Reload!
First strike! Blow away! What you do?
Eternal
Devastation!
Glacial Spear!
harder!
Here's the evil!
My turn!
Now I'm in trouble.
Freeze Lancer!
See what happened there as you crossed me. Shouldn't have done that.
Will this help? Divine!
Demon Fang! Demon Fang!
Leave the enemy's art to me!
No complaints here. I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw! Crumble! Talon sword!
Blow away!
Lightning! Down the hole! I'm out of it! I'm all stopped up!
Eat this!
Annihilation! Searing Flame! Reload! Raging Storm! Hope this works!
This one's all mine!
I'll heal you all!
Dragon Swarm!
Talon Hurricane!
No.
Stay away from my friend! Lightning thrust! Rising Phoenix!
Raging Cascade! Back from Death Abyss! Resuscitation! Purge
Demon Fang!
Arcade! This one's mine! Freeze Lancer! Dance in the wind!
Blow
Air!
away! Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
It was a close thing. That treasure. What a sweet-sounding ring it has.
You really think so?
Not today! I'm on! Demon Fang!
Do it, Law! Get toasty!
Burn Strike!
Right, next one.
Already on!
Stand back. I'll trip it up.
Blew away! I'll tear you apart!
Fantastic! Great! Amazing! Shut up, Law! I'm trying to focus. I was only trying to be nice. Do it! Shion! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
Lady Fortune must truly be watching over me.
Am I imagining things? Or are there a lot of big Zoogles in this area?
No, I noticed that too. There's plenty of food and water to go around here. For a Zoogle, this just might be paradise.
Great! That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Mahag Sar, a land where the winds scar and the clouds stretch far.
Kisara? What is he doing?
Reciting a poem, apparently. Just let him be. We should be able to cook here.
I always love the sound of hammers banging away.
Is there a reason you're looking at me so intently?
Shion's kind of turned into the local fashion critic in our group.
So this is what lords like you wear. Certainly looks the part. I can tell at a glance what high quality everything is.
It's not often Shion's that impressed. You wear a lot of rings too, don't you?
They were a gift, purchased rather cheaply, or so I was told.
What's your definition of cheap, exactly?
I believe it was around 100 to 200,000 gold.
What? If my wolf head cost 10 gold, then that'd mean... Holy crap! They cost 1,000 times more?!
10,000 times more.
If he sold those things off, I bet he could build a damn mansion with them.
At the very least, he'd never go hungry the rest of his life.
You're all beginning to sound alarmingly interested in my rings.
What's up, Kisara? You look concerned.
Oh, no, it's just... I'm looking at our finances and they seem to have taken a nosedive. I don't remember us making any big purchases, though.
Ah, that may be because I borrowed a small amount to purchase something the other day.
I don't think you can call spending more than half of our money a small amount.
Half? Dohalim, what the hell did you buy?
As it so happens, I came upon a rather special object that I've long been searching for.
Are you talking about that junk? I mean, that unique-looking trinket you're holding?
Whoa, is that a...
Indeed. It is a lost artifact from ancient Dahnan times. Most likely, it was used for some sort of rite or ritual. Ever since we Renans conquered Dahna, such objects have been disappearing. I simply want to do my part to help preserve both our people's storied histories.
Well, if it's to preserve Dahnan history, then I guess we can maybe look the other way. Just this once?
I don't know. Why spend money on something that won't even keep us fed?
More to the point, we all contribute to that money. I don't like the thought of anyone dipping into it without saying anything.
You must understand. Had I let that opportunity pass me by, I'd never have come across this item again.
Dohalim, maybe no one taught you that money doesn't grow on trees.
I may have been a lord, but I realize that much.
It's not enough to simply realize it. You have to internalize the concept too. Even after all this time, you still have no real sense of money. Our funds aren't your personal wallet. We camp outside and eat grass for dinner to try and stretch every last gold we have. You never know when we may need it.
I don't think we're so poor that we have to eat grass or anything.
Shut up, Alphen.
Shutting.
Let's just agree to not spend too much or be too thrifty for our own good.
Alphen, your blazing sword draws its power from Shion's Fire Master core, right?
So I'm told.
Then why don't you use yours, Dohalim?
You mean my Earth Master Core, yes?
Yeah, I mean, you still carry it around with you, don't you?
I do. Each Master Core contains the astral energy harvested from Dahnan's slaves over the course of the last 3 centuries. Though only a select few qualified people, namely the Lords, can wield them, they nevertheless hold too much power to simply abandon.
If only the Lords are supposed to be able to use them, how come Alphen and Xion can use theirs?
That may be because Xion has embedded the Fire Master Core within her body, something which wouldn't have occurred under normal circumstances.
Okay, but why do you still carry yours around?
Just as Danans see Master Cores as symbols of the lives and resources robbed from them, so too do I view mine as a symbol of our lasting sins. The pain and agony wrought upon this world by my predecessors, as well as the injustice enabled by my own inaction, are all housed within my Master Core. It is a testament of all that I have done wrong. It cannot ever be used again, nor fall back into the wrong hands.
Dohalim.
You didn't differentiate between the deaths of Danans and the deaths of Renans.
Danans and Renans both spill blood and languish in agony all the same. I just couldn't bear to hear it any longer. That's all.
Little late for that.
This is a true masterpiece, no less than culinary art.
Mind if I join you, Law?
Oh, hey, Alphen. What's up?
Nothing. I was just surprised to see you weren't training for once. Got a stomach ache or something?
You know I don't literally train around the clock, right? I do take breaks.
Do you? It seems like you're training every chance you get.
Well, yeah, it can't be helped if I want to get stronger. Still, it's important to let your muscles rest every now and then. That's what my dad told me anyway.
Zephyr said that?
When I was a little kid, yeah. I would get so excited whenever he came home. I always followed him wherever he went and tried to learn as much from him as I could. He said, it's good to be passionate, but don't overdo it. Just like there are times when you want to take a break from studying, sometimes your body wants to take a break from training too. I was always rushing around and forgetting to rest, so he ended up telling me that a lot.
That definitely sounds like him.
It's nothing to get sad over. Still, I can't help but wonder if that was my dad's way of teaching me the dangers of rushing into things too quickly. Then again, maybe I'm just overthinking things. I wish I'd had more time to talk to him about this kind of stuff. See you guys tomorrow. You guys ready to hit the road? I know I am.
A fish! You saw it too, right? Reel it in. Dagnabbit! It got away.
I hope we catch something decent.
Indeed. Hungry bellies are counting on this.
Hey, what do you think about that spot?
Good idea. I'll go for that one. Yeah! Reel it in. Boy, that's a bit of a letdown.
You take your fishing pretty seriously.
There we go. That was disappointing.
I hope we catch something decent.
Indeed. Hungry bellies are counting on this. Yeah! Oh! Well, that wasn't much of a challenge.
Guess it's important to stay calm.
I've got something. Anybody could reel in that.
Guess it's important to stay calm.
There we go. I'll catch something bigger next time.
Could have been worse. At least you caught something.
I wonder if we can use this.
It'll be a breeze. Get in, get out.
Eternal devastation!
Eat this!
Raining slash!
Demon Not on my watch! Reload! Tempest Whirl! Radiant in the wind!
Tempest Hurricane!
Will this
Demon
work?
Fang!
Goes on!
There you are!
Magic is in!
Thanks.
Freeze Lancer! Searing
Demon
Flame!
Fang!
Reload! Let the marksman
Freaking
handle
done
this!
it. I'm on it!
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming Wildfire! Searing Flame! Reload!
Blow away!
Will this help?
Rocket Shell!
Healing
Eternal
Blow!
devastation!
Take that!
Not today!
Sorry to be a bother.
We've all got enough on our plate.
Yes, ma'am.
One more!
Demon
Mega Ray! This one's mine!
I'm on a roll now! Blow
Here's
away!
the healer!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Here's a healing arc!
You're mine!
First aid!
Did you just heal me?
Yes, I need you, remember?
Right.
Raging Cascade! Eagle Assault! Hard Mega Ray! Our magic is in! Sleep now! Mega Ray!
Demon Fang! Try harder! Not a chance!
Here's the evil!
A charge like that
Here's a
could
healing
easily
arc.
be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to
shooting
stop.
too high.
Demon Fang!
Flame! Reload!
Rising
I'll
Phoenix!
heal you all! Photon Flame! Healing Circle! That's exciting! I'm only
Demon
getting
Fang!
started!
Swallow Day!
Dance in the wind! I'm on the sleep now!
Blow away!
This will come in handy!
Rising Phoenix!
Healing Hurricane! Shining Quiver Dora!
Blow away!
I'm on a roll now!
Eternal devastation! All mine! You're mine!
This is bad, right?
Yes, Alvin! Very bad!
I don't feel so good.
In here! Evil!
Demon Fang!
Will this help? Too much to handle? Hard Malevolent! Blah, blah, blah! I'm on it! Radiant!
You're mine! Raining Swallow Dance!
Do it!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
I know fine weapon material when I see it. Out of our way!
Demon Fang!
Whirlwind
No escape!
Radiant!
Blow away! Eternal devastation!
Here! I'm out of ammo!
Not today!
Eat this!
Hurricane Thrust! Searing Gale!
I'm just getting started!
Here I come!
Rip and tear! Thunder Field!
Let's tear him up.
Healing arc! None shall escape my judgment field! Focus, Rinwell. If you can't rely on yourself...
Don't be a martyr.
Hey,
You've
that-
got all your friends here.
Thanks.
All good things come to
Here's
an
a
end.
healing
Searing
arc!
Gale! First strike! Be still!
Powered Hurricane! Tempest Whirl! None shall escape my judgment!
You'll pay for that!
Raging Cascade! Ray! I'll bring you back from death's abyss!
That did it!
My astral energy! Dance on the wind! Field! Air thrust! Mega Ray! Raging Cascade! Here, let me heal! First aid! This will come in handy!
I feel like me again.
Radiant Pierce!
Demon Fang!
I'll heal you all!
Try harder! My turn!
Here's
This one keeps charging us!
That's
what my shield's for.
You won't get away with that!
Got it! I'll leave it to you!
From death's abyss. I hope this medicine works.
Here I piss on! Demon Fang!
Resuscitation! One more!
I'll smash you!
You're mine! I still got some fight left in me!
Eat this!
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire! I'll heal you all!
Eternal devastation! I'm on it!
I can't hold on much longer!
I'm on it!
I can only rely on
Hurricane!
Evil Flash!
Try harder!
Annihilation! Here's a healing arm!
Demon
First aid! with the others! Arch Shield! Mega Ray! Watch and weep! More with that! Radiant Pierce!
I'm on it! Talon Hurricane!
No more Miss Nice Girl!
Raining Flash!
It's over!
Blow away!
Arc
Burn!
Waterfall! Deathfall!
Demon Fang!
Shield! Flame!
Raining
Reload!
Flash!
Continuous!
Eternal
I never
devastation!
sit! I'll take it from here. Let's see how you handle this! Deus Roar! Photon Slash! Not on my watch!
Demon
Do
Fang!
it!
Still!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
That's some power you wield.
You're the one who did the heavy lifting.
I find the sounds of the night to be rather comforting.
I'll see you again tomorrow. I think we've rested long enough. Let's keep moving.